Okay. It looks like this is working, which is kind of cool. I'm just going to confirm. Hell yeah. Very cool. So I'm going to do some programming tonight. I have a bit of an audio engine that I've been working on for a little while. It's, well, so far, just to give you a little bit of background, it opens up the audio drivers on Windows and it pumps out audio to them using this endpoint class. The endpoint calls a callback that gets registered with it from the application. It's in this thing called the DAW project. And let's see, where is it? Point in it. I think it's this guy right here. I have this process thing that, well, I don't really remember. It's been a while. I've been working on this for a while. Let me see. He's going to be right here. This M audio proc callback. I have this register processing CB, register processing callback. That should be getting called somewhere, like here. Oh, there we go. No, that's not right. That's for my logger. Oh, it's when I click on open audio is when it registers it. And when I close audio is when it closes it. So basically, I register that callback. My dog is grumpy. He doesn't like me talking. Anyway, I register this callback. It grabs a sample from whatever my root object is, and eventually that's going to be like a master gain controller or a master mixer sort of thing. But at the moment, it's just a pulse oscillator that I've written. And that, well, I called it pulse oscillator. It's a sine wave doing a bit of, hard-coded debug type stuff. But this is my sort of audio chain that I have hooked up. I'm not going to go too much into it. Basically, it's a sine wave that modulates another sine wave. I'm doing a little bit of FM because the last thing I was testing was, let's see, the phase of the sine wave. And it's kind of cool when it opens up. When it opens up, I have a little debug window, and the debug window has a buffer, and it shows you what's happening, what's getting pushed out. That's basically what I have right now. I'm doing... I had two buttons for my open and close audio, as you can see here, and I'm getting rid of those. Instead, I'm going to have a single button that swaps between the two. And this is not the best way to do this. I'm going to be turning that into its own like Qt component, I think, at some point. But for now, it's fine. Let's see. I'm going to create a function called let's see. Qt kind of puts things in a weird order that I am not a huge fan of. That's okay though. I'm going to have this init defaults function here. I like having init functions because you don't have to worry about, if you want things to just go back to the way they were when everything was set up, you don't have to like deconstruct and reconstruct an object or anything like that. You just call init. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to call that here. Very nice. And what is that thing called? It's the push button audio control. Yeah. Okay, let me adjust the volume because it will be quite loud. And build. There we go. What do you think of that? Oh, but that didn't work, did it? Oh, snap. Okay, I messed up a little bit. And there we go. That should do that. I don't know what I was thinking, but this should be good. And besides for having it backwards, it is not too bad. There we go. That should do it. Very nice. Let me open my phone and see if anybody's watching, because I don't think anybody is. But just in case anyone is, I want to be able to reply. Okay, cool. Alright, this kind of works on my couch, I guess, doing this stuff. Let's see. I wonder why it doesn't sound like it should. Like it should be pulsing in and out. I don't know. It was working before. I did a bunch of kind of like, I don't know, surgical stuff with the plugs. So I think I'm going to have to dig in and do some debugging. It's a little frustrating. We will see, though. We will always figure it out. So we'll put a breakpoint there. Okay, so I go into my sine wave. Next sample implement. And I update my plugs. Now, let's see. I should have 2 plugs. Named phase and frequency. And it says there's no controlling component for either of them. Now that's interesting. Because, let's see, which one is this? 0. This is phase. Phase should have a controlling component, I think. Well, that's annoying. Let's try disabling optimizations so we can debug a little better. There we go. And because he thinks that this is a null pointer, for whatever reason, he's not updating. Okay, that makes sense. So I was just doing a bunch of stuff with some of my generated code. So if I go up to my sine oscillator here, I was editing this macro. It might be that. I might just have forgotten something else that I did. This part right here is what I need to debug. Set phase. He's in generated code, so this is going to be a pain in the butt. I wish I had Visual Assist. I don't. And it is so worth it. Where's my Solution Explorer? I don't know why they hide the Solution Explorer by default. Probably because they assume you have Visual Assist. No, I doubt it, but let's see. So I'm calling set phase, which is going to call connect to plug, which is a part of component.cpp. So let's see if we get in there. We do. Okay. So the stuff that I could have potentially messed up doesn't seem to be messed up. Unless the hash is wrong. The hash could be wrong. Yeah, that is absolutely incorrect. Oh, dang. Why didn't it fail? I don't have 18 million entries in this thing, do I? 18 freaking bajillion? This is like a -1 or something. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a -1. That's no good. Maybe my search is borked. Nah, 256. That's what I thought. Why is it chill with this ridiculous number? It doesn't make any sense. Either way, I think my hash is goofed. It is. Well, it's interesting. I have this const expr CRC32. Okay. Let's see what that value is when we get there. So it'll be digital sign k hash phase. Got it. Oscillator digital sign k hash phase. Yeah, that is not a hash that I can be proud of. What did I do? Oh, it's a char. That's why. Dumb. Dumb. And just to be extra OCD, I'll line them up and Alt-Shift to line all these boys up. And there we go. That should fix it. So many dumb mistakes. That's programming for you. So let's see if we hear the difference. Yes. My dog doesn't like that. He's chilling. He's like, yo. He's a good boy. Sorry, I'm just extra entertained by my dog. Can I just say how much I love my dog? It's something. It sure is something. Let's see. So that's working. Cool. And this new toggle button works, and that's cool. So now I need to figure out what I'm going to do next. My sort of overarching plan is to make a sort of like script environment, like a visual scripting thing that is user friendly, sort of inspired by like Unreal or Max MSP. I'd like to really put a lot more power in creatives' hands. I don't want to go on a rant about what I'm trying to do with this software necessarily, but I would like to do the things that I would talk about in that rant if I did rant. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Let's see. So, what I've got now is this workspace widget. And the workspace widget is going to be the sort of like main scripting workspace. I've looked a little bit into like making toolbars and docking them and stuff. Not quite there yet. Whew. Excuse me. I think what I want to do is make it so that you can press like a button and then start typing, and that'll give you suggestions for the different kinds of components that you can use. I think that's the ultimate goal. And I think what I'm going to have to do that is, well, all of these are like manually declared, and there's a little bit of code generation going on here. But I think what I would ultimately like to do is sort of, declare these in a proprietary format, because there's going to be more data than just this stuff. Like, there's going to be a description, and some of them I don't want to write descriptions for. So I want there to be default descriptions, and I want to run a tool that sort of takes that information and turns it into an H or CPP file. And somehow link that to like a real object, like be able to register them. I'm very tired tonight. It's kind of late. It's almost 1 in the morning. So, and I've had 3 beers. So it's a good Friday night. This is coronavirus TV, I guess. So let's see. What am I actually going to do? I need to draw some stuff. So I'm going to look at my waveform widget that I've already written as a sort of prototype, because I've already done a lot of this like custom drawing stuff. And I'm just going to straight up copy that code. Let's see. I snagged the waveform widget from a previous project that I was working on. I'm really glad I already had that done, which is kind of nice. I know I'm going to need a paint event. And a mouse event. Gosh. I guess event is a special thing in Visual Studio. Cool. What else are we going to do? We need a list. So I guess there's going to have to be a backend where all of these components sort of live. And then the GUI is going to have to be a representation of that. I'm imagining different like abstraction layers where you won't have 100% representation of all of those backend objects in the front end. So that kind of hierarchy, I think I would like to have managed in the back end. So let's see. If I go to my engine, I'm going to create a new file. And that's going to be my, well, I don't really need that yet. I'm really trying to get started on this UI. I've been putting off this UI for a while. No, I think I need a backend. I need a name for like what, I guess like Unreal calls it a blueprint and Max calls it a patch. Other things call it a script. This is kind of, I guess, kind of an important thing, right? Dang, it would be really cool if I could do the same thing that Max does, where you can just copy and paste, and when it copies, it turns it into text. That would be really cool. That's a ways down the road, I think. Let's see. I'm leaning towards something like a page or sheet, maybe. Because, yeah, a sheet is probably a good idea. The thing that I don't want to do is make it feel like you're using like Microsoft Word when you're supposed to be creating music or sound effects. But I do want it to sort of seem like you're creating a piece. I'm going to call it a sheet. I really like that. So I'm just gonna, I always reference stuff that I've already written. So each sheet is going to use the components. Oh man. I goofed my filters. Let me do this. Okay, that's cool. I wonder why this guy's mad. Oh, okay, I guess not. So a sheet is going to have a set of components. Wonder what the best way to organize that is. Let's see. It could just be a straight up array. Then if I remove something, is it going to have to shift everything over? That'd be kind of frustrating. But it's not like there's any hierarchy involved. If it's dynamically growable, what if it just, I don't know. I'm leaning toward like maybe like a hash map or something, but I don't know what to hash on. I'm not sure. At the moment, what I might just do, it makes things a lot easier if you just have a fixed size for everything. And make it 512. And then, yeah. Ugh. Cool. They must be pointers. That makes sense. But that's okay. I'll still do the pointers. And then we'll have a bit set. 64-bit. 512. Times 8. Cool. And we'll have our, let's see if these are private. Public. Init. Destroy. And I get my nice little thingies in here. I like those. How are we going to get the components? How are we going to access and set these things? We can get them by ID, and the ID can be their pointer. That works for me. So I'm just going to hide that it's a pointer. I'm going to call it a unit32 or 64. You know what? 32 is fine. No, it has to be a 64. Interesting. It's going to be hard to allocate this space because the components aren't going to be the same size because this is an abstract class. So I have to like handle this with a real allocator. So this can't be a list of components. It has to be a list of pointers. And then I have to have some space that I'll allocate it on. And I could do it on the heap, but I'd really like to preserve, a temporal locality, if possible, for similar objects. So I'm just going to have a K component alloc size. And that's going to be K max components times, let's see. I'm just going to double the size of the base component, I think. There typically aren't a lot of new properties in a component. Well, I also haven't done a lot either, but it's basically like one 32-bit number or one 32-bit number or one 32-bit number. Yeah. And how big is a base component? 64, 32, 32, and then 256 times some extra stuff. Okay. So maybe 2 times is a bit much. I mean, it'll be plenty. It will be plenty. I'm just going to add like a bit of buffer. Maybe, like, I don't need like a kilobyte or anything like that, or even a quarter of a kilobyte. It's probably just going to have to be like, I'd say a really complicated component would probably have maybe 10 floats in it. No, or 2, yeah, maybe. I doubt it though. Most of those are going to be plugs, and there are 256 of those. I'm going to give it an extra 64 or 8. Yeah. No, I'm going to give it an, is that right? What's 64 divided by 4? I'm very tired. I'm sorry. 16. That's plenty. Yeah, that'll work for me. An extra 16 bytes. This is terrible. I need to make a note. I think what I should do is just have a budget and then allocate as many. I mean, that's essentially what I'm doing. One, 4, 3, 6, 0. That's how many bytes. That's how many K. 7 megabytes. Why don't I just make it an even 10 megabytes? I mean, these are going to take... Screw it. I'm going to make it 100 megabytes. Why not? You know? So Yeah. I'm just going to put that budget there. And then I don't need a max components. And I don't need this weird thing. And it's frustrating. I'm being so dumb. Also pretty tired. This could just be a linked list. Yeah, there's no reason to make it any more complicated than that. But then what am I allocating on? God bless it. I think I need to go to bed. I want to make this software really fast. So I don't want to like be sorting things whenever you add or remove something. I'd rather it just be like happy about that and not have to like do a bunch of shit. I'm demonetized. I don't think I was ever going to be monetized. I've had one viewer this whole time and it's been me. I don't know. I'm probably a little too tired to think about this. So I'm going to say good night. Good night.